Okay, so hard mode Runa. Uh, as you may notice, I am with Word of Protection, so I don't have Healing Burst, and in my opinion, this is for the best because you get more protection sacrificing one heal. But if your healer cleric is good enough and not some bot, well, if he's bot, you're gonna fail anyway. Um, so with Word of Protection, it's much easier for you, for the cleric, for everyone in the group, especially on the clones, because it's not gonna be so much pressure on the cleric. Of course, he will have to heal a little bit more because you don't have healing burst, but he will be taking less damage as well. So that's that. The beginning is pretty much like the normal mode. You start, you heal, you keep popping out the words. Nothing special. Now the ads are coming, so I'm gonna use elemental screen on the first ads. And notice this. In this case I'm leader and I'm marking it. I targeted the melee mob and I used the bind. So that's a slow as well. And then I stun it as well. This is what you can do as a Chanter. So except for the support skills, you can actually do offensive debuffs. And you're helping the group with this as well, because the mobs are going to be hitting less, because they will be instant or CC slow, not going to be using skills for the duration of the debuff, and so on. That's very important if you want to help a little bit more than the usual Chanter, let's say. Now, when you see the frost on the ground, it's a good idea to start precasting heal. Now, as a Chanter, you're not going to heal that much, but still, it's not a bad idea to do that and help the cleric. It's the same thing for the skills as well. Now I'm searching for the right clone, and here it is, marking it. Now, you would notice that with the cleric we stand away from each other and away from the group. This is because the skills from the clones are AOS, and you wouldn't want to get hit by more skills than the ones that are actually hitting you. So when we spread the hits, for example, the ones on the DPS and the ones on the cleric, or if there is one, for example, on me, we're gonna be taking less damage. Now, it's good to take not to use any kind of shields here. If the cleric and the chanter know what they are doing, you don't really need that. Now, it's very important for the clone stage. You must have more than 18,000 HP to be actually surviving the clones. With Word of Protection a little bit less, but in the general case more than 18k. And like for example in this moment he used a repo to breakcasted repo to save himself from dying. Now this is very important, you need to be precasting. In some situations you can save up skills. In for example, one time you can use Splendor of Recovery, sometimes you can use repo, or sometimes you can use just a normal group heal. Being a chargeable or healing wind doesn't matter, it's your preference. I personally prefer the chargeables, but in this case Soshira is healing with healing wind mostly. Of course, as usual, Word of Wind on the third stage, make sure you go to the middle, because it's very stupid when I see Chanters popping up the Word of Wind in the corner and half of the group doesn't get the buff. Same thing goes for the elemental screen and so on. Now, first stats, third stage, elemental screen. Mark them. Sorry. And you would notice that I am probably gonna do bind again. Yep, see. Bind it again. That's slow and physical silence. Another useful debuff. Well, it's the same, but I mean I used it again. Now the frost on the ground, try to avoid it as much as you can. Most of the times you're not gonna be able to, because once the cast of the actual skill crosses 50%, if you're still in the frost, you're gonna take the damage. Doesn't matter if you're out or in it. Now, you would want, as a support, to stay a little bit further from the DPS, because they are the ones holding the aggro of the boss, therefore taking the AOS. So you wouldn't want to get interrupted. Make sure you know where the boss is at all times. For example, you just saw I moved my camera, I saw where the blinking thingy on the ground. So I moved away and I was waiting for the frost. Now, there would be a blinking dot on the ground soon because we are slower. So, see, between Hema and Sashira. So I moved a little bit back because this is a mana drain actually. So you wouldn't want to be in this because of the double damage and eventually losing mana. Of course, people don't see it always, so it's good to say it in TeamSpeak if you're in TeamSpeak, like in the normal line. Same shit. Now it's very important, during the fear nobody moves, everyone is where he is. The only one that should be moving is the cleric. He dispels the fear and then you can start moving whatever you want to do. If you want, you can wait the silence, because it's better if the cleric doesn't get silenced, but other than that you can move during the silence. Now here is very important. As a chanter, you must use the Divine Curtain on this moment, first stats after the fear, because they are the ones doing a lot of damage. It's 2 bodyguards, the guardians I mean, a reaper and 2 drakes. This is the setup with most damage. The drakes make stun, the guardians make knockback, and the reaper makes silence. You wouldn't want to take damage from the highest DPS of that and all those debuffs. Now, Word of Protection helps here because actually we avoid the stuns from the Drake most cases if they stun. Now, Blinking Dot on Sashira, so I'm calling in the TeamSpeak and I'm moving away. Now he didn't move away fast enough, but it was fine because I was out and I was managing to heal a little bit. Now in this case I am ignoring the cleric since he is out of danger for the moment, and I made a heal on the gladiator. You have to have that in mind always, who is more endangered. Now for the second ad wave I use elemental screen, and of course we kill the weak mobs first and we leave the strong physical ones to the gladiator only. Now in this case I wasted quickness, but this is usually the point that you would